4 years ago, we left Florida on our 40-year-old sailboat with the hope of reaching the Bahamas, but the real goal of just surviving as we learned how to sail. We always had dreams of sailing the South Pacific lingering in the back of our heads. After a few years of growing our skills in the Caribbean, we crossed the Panama Canal, then refit our boat in Mexico to prepare for the monumental challenge of crossing the Pacific Ocean. At the other end of the Pacific Ocean lies New Zealand, a place so distant and legendary that we barely could imagine ourselves reaching it. In the past 7 months, we have covered 8,000 nautical miles of open ocean and spent 68 nights at sea. That's nearly 1 out of every 3 nights. We've just completed our final passage of the year with our crew member Hannah, and find ourselves tied to the quarantine dock in Opua, New Zealand, awaiting inspections to be allowed in, eager to see if New Zealand is as spectacular as we imagined. It's an early start on One Life. We had a really good night's of rest, and the customs officer came by this morning and gave us some paperwork to fill out, so we're getting busy with that. And then the biosecurity officer will come by and go through all of our food, our dive gear, any hiking gear we have on board to check it all out and see if it's allowed into the country or not. Some of the stuff, like food items, we might have to throw out, so they'll be incinerated. But yeah, it's going to be a long day of waiting here at the dock. There are currently 12 boats here on the quarantine dock with us, and Customs, Immigration, and the biosecurity officer have to visit each one. So anyway, we're hoping that we can get into the marina later this afternoon, but we'll just have to see how the day goes.
Make sure it's the right way up since you're bloody videoing me.
Woohoo!
Put it upside down.
Just finished up with the first visit from the customs officer, and that's who stamps our passport and basically just asks us basic questions about the boat. But one of the things that we're not able to have here in New Zealand are any weapons. And so they asked if we had any guns on board, etc. We answered no. Then he asked if we had a flare gun on board, and we said yes. So he had to see the flare gun. Apparently flare guns are not allowed here in New Zealand, so we need to keep it in a locked area on the boat. It's pretty interesting because being a U.S. flag boat and sailing in the U.S. or boating in the U.S., it's mandatory for you to have a flare gun if your boat is registered by the U.S. Coast Guard. So different rules, different countries. But we also received a whole list of the food items that we're not able to have on board. So Hannah and I just got all of those out, and we're just waiting on the biosecurity officer now. Fresh fruit and veggies and fresh meats are definitely no's. Our bananas that we bought never ripened, so we're gonna have to donate those to the incinerator. But other things such as oats and rice, any egg product, any dairy product, mayonnaise, milk, any canned meats, any dried beans, lentils, and any sprouts. Also anything like honey or jams. So we have it all laid out. We're not sure that they will take all of it, but they did say that they need to see it. So we'll see what we have left once they're finished checking our boat. We got that.
Spade that's out, so that's probably 100 gram chorizo.
These are unlabeled.
Something you want to get rid of?
Yeah.
No, it's more hot dogs.
This is summer sausage, which has pork in it as well.
Yep.
And we are free off the quarantine dock. So we're gonna let Hannah hoist our New Zealand flag.
I don't think that's fair. I still think you guys should.
It's your flag.
I know.
It was a bit of a bummer. The biosecurity guy made us throw away our aloe vera plant, which we had since Carousel. So that was a bit of a bummer. And we also had to throw away our bananas. canned pork, canned chicken because we took the label off of it so we couldn't tell that it was canned chicken, and the same way with the canned beef. But we were able to keep our rice, our oats, our popcorn. We had to throw our honey away. We had to throw our bananas away. It was like 50-50 on the stuff we were able to keep. So anyway, now we're gonna untie these dock lines and get into the marina, which is what I'm really excited about because I want to take an unlimited hot water shower. And I also, tomorrow, it's already getting late here. It's like 3 p.m., but I'm ready to give One Life a bath tomorrow and get her all cleaned up and feeling fresh again. So let's get into this marina. New Zealand's yacht entry protocol is one of the most strict we've ever experienced, so we were very relieved to be off the quarantine dock. With One Life safely tied to the marina, we headed to the marina office to check in, and then straight to the local bakery to grab New Zealand's infamous meat pies and, of course, some ice cream. After a couple days of rest and relaxation at the marina, the time finally came for us to say our see you laters to Hannah. When Hannah first joined us on One Life, we weren't sure how it would go. Having a crewmate on board long term, especially one who had never sailed before, was definitely a bit of a wild card. We wondered how she'd handle life at sea, the early mornings and sleepless nights, the long watches, and the overall unpredictability of sailing. But from day one, Hannah's spirit shined through. Even when things were tough, she was always willing to learn and adapt. It wasn't long before she found her rhythm and her place in this little floating home of ours. What's really special, though, is how she didn't just become a capable sailor. She became a part of our story. We've shared so many unforgettable moments, and honestly, we thought after 6 weeks together, we'd be ready to have our own space back. But instead, we found ourselves wishing she wasn't leaving so soon. But life has its commitments, and Hannah needed to get back to the South Island of New Zealand for her niece's wedding, some work commitments, and to start planning her next adventure to Australia. I remember when she arrived, she joked that she'd be sad if I didn't cry when she left. Well, Hannah, mission accomplished. What's cheers in New Zealand? What do you guys do?
We say cheers.
We say cheers.
We say cheers.
Cheers in New Zealand.
Cheers.
Best rum in the world!
Best rum in the world.
She's got tears in her eyes.
Oh, I'm gonna miss you too.
Bye.
Thank you so much, guys. I had the best time. Couldn't have asked for better people, better crew. Okay.
I'm not crying.
Auckland, you see this Auckland Central. Thank you.
Even though Hannah's adventure with us had ended, our adventure in New Zealand was just beginning. Our plan was to sail down the coast to Auckland, but first we decided to explore the Bay of Islands. We untied our dock lines and headed to the fuel dock. Unfortunately, the automatic fuel pumps would not accept our US credit cards. We had no choice but to continue on with the fuel we had remaining from our last fuel run over 1,200 miles previously in Tonga. We have finally left Bay of Islands Marina. We were there for a couple weeks, and we actually didn't film anything during our time there. For one, we were just pretty worn out, honestly. We covered a ton of miles so far, and we just kind of wanted a break from sailing and filming. So yeah, we just had a nice break. We had some friends from Florida fly in and visit us for a week, and we did a little inland travel with them. We took them out for a sail, and it was really nice break from sailing. But we finally feel like it's time to get back out here and start exploring New Zealand. So we left the marina and we're sailing around the Bay of Islands today. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a little chilly. I think it's like 70 degrees, which is pretty perfect, but we're not used to the cooler temperatures yet. But it's such a nice change of pace. There's no season here. There's green hills all around us, lots of hiking and easy sailing. So we're just gonna soak it all in as we run down the coast to Auckland. So we're gonna do that over probably like a week or so, just taking our time, picking good weather windows, and yeah, just taking it easy and taking a break from ocean sailing, which is much needed. We needed a break, the boat needed a break, and yeah, but it feels good to be out and be on anchor again. It's kind of funny because when we first pulled into the marina, I told Gary, like, I don't want to leave here for a while. I just want to be in the marina. And it's quickly how that changed so fast for me. So once our friends left us, I was ready to get back out here and start sailing again. So I guess I didn't need that much of a break, but it was a solid couple weeks off. The Bay of Islands are located on the northeast coast of New Zealand's North Island and is one of the most popular fishing, sailing, and tourist destinations in the country. The area was bustling with boat traffic between the passenger car ferries going between islands, tour boats, and sailing vessels. A welcome change to see so many people out using their boats, but also a tad overwhelming, given the lack of boat traffic we became used to in the South Pacific Islands. On this sail, we would only be going a few miles to an anchorage in Oki Bay, near Cape Brett Peninsula. This area is a sailing dream because it contains 144 islands and numerous peninsulas and inlets, which are easily accessible and perfect for short day sails. Shortly after we dropped anchor, we were greeted by a tad of New Zealand's magic. Surrounded by lush green hillsides, dolphins, and tucked into a nice calm anchorage, we were quite happy to be back in cruising mode, watching the sun go down and enjoying dinner in the cockpit. Things we just don't do tied up at the dock. Good morning. We're gonna take you guys on a little bit of an adventure today. We are anchored in Oki Bay. We are literally the only boat in the anchorage. We don't know what happened, but when we first arrived, there were probably like 10 boats here. But it's predicted to be a north wind, and this anchorage is a little bit exposed from the north, so maybe that's why they left. But anyway, we have this whole bay to ourselves, which is amazing. But we're gonna take a little dinghy ride. It's about a mile to a little place called Deepwater Cove, and you can anchor there, but there's just about enough room for one boat, and since it's a pretty long hike, we didn't really want to leave one life there all day. The holding isn't supposed to be that great there, so we're gonna take the dinghy over there, get it tied up and situated, and then hike to Cape Brett Lighthouse. Anyway, it should be a pretty solid day. Ready? There, you got it? It was a bit of a mission to get the dinghy up here, but the reason we had to cart it so far up the shore is because there's about a 6-foot tide here, and since the hike is so long, we're going to be seeing a full tide circle. So it's about low tide now, and when we come back it'll be high tide. And we thought about anchoring it out and swimming in, but the holding is really rocky and we just didn't feel comfortable leaving it out on anchor all day. So anyway, there's actually one boat anchored in here already, so it's a good thing we didn't move the big boat over. Okay, let's go.
Watch out for that tree.
Oh, wow, holy shit. Now we go up along that side. I see the trail up there. Yeah. We are walking along the ridge now, so we have to be getting close. We're at the highest point. And I think when we bop down over this hill, we should see the lighthouse. What do you think, Erie?
I think we're almost there.
It's been a tough hike.
This view is insane.
It is insane. This rocky cliff shoreline is pretty spectacular. Okay, let's go see this lighthouse. That's beautiful. As we walked around the grounds of the Cape Brett Lighthouse, we found ourselves completely enamored by our surroundings. Maybe it was a sense of accomplishment after so many sailing miles to get here, or perhaps it was the rich history, knowing the glow from the beacon once guided many vessels safely through these waters. Or was it just the raw beauty of the 49-foot structure perched on the edge of the rugged coastline watching over the Pacific that captivated us? Whatever it was, it felt so good to be in New Zealand, knowing we have so much more to experience here. So there's actually a few different ways to hike to see the lighthouse. There's a trail that starts in Rahiti near town, and it's about 7.5 to 8 hours one way. And if you do that hike, you can stay here at this little hut. It looks really cute. There's some bunk beds in there and a tiny kitchen. And I think it's like $40 New Zealand to stay here per person. And then you just hike back the next day. So we actually thought about doing this. But then we decided to do the easy route and start in Deepwater Cove, which is only like 2 to 3 hours one way. So in total, it should take us about 5 to 6 hours to do the whole thing. So this hut was actually the lightkeeper's quarters from 1910 all the way until 1978 when they automated the lighthouse. It's cool that they left it there and transformed it into a little place for backpackers. All right, well, it's been beautiful up here, but we need to hike the rest of the way back. So anyway, I'll catch you guys down there. We made it.
We're here.
Our boat's here.
Would you do it again?
I actually would.
You would?
Yeah.
The
It
whole
was-
thing? Like, would you do like
I-
another 6
You would
weeks?
do another sailing trip?
I think I could. I definitely think I could. I don't know that I'd be signing up for it right now. But the sail, like the long sail from Minerva Reef to here, it definitely was at the time went a lot quicker than I thought it would. Like
Yeah.
I thought that it was going to be like, okay, day 3, and I was just going to be like, I'm done. Like, I'm done.
Yeah. What was
But-
like the hardest part about it for you, do you think?
I don't know. Like so I think the conditions, so the really windy day that we had, the really bad weather day, at that day I woke up and I was like, okay, I'm hoping this doesn't last too long.
Yeah. Did you think
But-
you were gonna like just because it was uncomfortable, or because you
Just
were
'cause
like
it's
nervous and like
no.
thought we were unsafe?
Just uncomfortable. Like you're constantly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Constant. Like you just want the boat to just
Stop.
Yeah. And you get 10 seconds where you're between the swell and between waves, and you're like, oh yes. And then next thing it's like you get slammed by another wave. So I think, yeah, that day I was like, oh, this is gonna be long if we have to do it that. But then day 6 was amazing. You know, it was so calm. We were
Yeah.
baking cookies. Like, it was fine. And then today, like, was probably the best day.
Of course.
And
'cause
dolphins.
this is here. We got
And we're here. I know.
here.
but-
We made it.
Yeah.
We didn't die. We made it.
Yes.
Yes. Good job,
I think
team.
good. I just hope
Amazing.
that even though I didn't know how to sail and had no experience, that you felt like I was helpful enough.
Oh my
And
gosh, are
made it
you
work.
kidding?
Well, I don't.
Yeah,
Yes.
you
I don't want to
were-
be like I was a waste of,
No, like-
waste of space or
You were a huge help. Like, I feel so much more rested than I would after this sail normally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
Good. My job is done.